Do you know there's a village in Pakistan where children walk miles for clean water? Meanwhile, just a few kilometers away, Nestlé runs a private well, pulling out thousands of liters from the same underground supply for pennies. Yes, pennies. And then they sell it back to the world in plastic bottles for $2.99. If that doesn't scream robbery in a corporate costume, what does? Because this isn't a rare case. It's happening across the globe. Africa, South America, North America, and right here in Pakistan. Nestlé isn't just bottling water, they're bottling power. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, where we dig up the stories they hope you'll scroll right past. And today's story is about one of the world's biggest food giants, a company whose appetite isn't for chocolate bars or baby formula this time. It's for something much more basic, water. Most people believe water belongs to everyone, but Nestlé, they had a different idea. They went from selling snacks to quietly seizing control of springs, rivers, and entire water rights for decades. Governments stayed silent, laws twisted to fit, communities ignored like background noise. So when people say Nestlé is controlling the world's water supply, don't laugh it off. This isn't clickbait. It's not a conspiracy theory cooked up for views. It's real, it's bold, and it's happening right now. Nestlé owns water rights in over 30 countries. They've been accused of draining aquifers and leaving entire communities bone dry. And they've fought hard to classify water as a food product instead of a basic human right. All for one reason: profit. Profit from something your body literally needs to stay alive. Let that sink in. This isn't just capitalism, it's liquid colonization. While you're sipping bottled water to stay hydrated, Nestlé is quietly building a kingdom, one drop at a time. And the deeper you dig, the uglier it gets. Nestlé doesn't just bottle water, they claim it, they own it, they monetize it. And if you happen to live near that water, well, too bad. Because in Nestlé's world, if you didn't trademark the river first, it's not yours anymore. So let's find out, is Nestlé's business all about human right or a market value? And just when you think, surely no human being would ever say this out loud, boom, 2005 hits. Peter Brabeck, Nestlé's CEO, steps in front of a camera and drops a bombshell that still echoes around the world. Water is not a human right. It's a foodstuff, and like any other foodstuff, it should have a market value. Let's run that back in case your soul didn't catch fire the first time. Water is not a human right. And suddenly, everything starts to click. The secret land grabs in rural Pakistan, the 58 million gallons pumped from California forest in the middle of a drought, the $200 permit fees in Flint that let Nestlé extract millions of liters and flip it into billions in bottled water sales. Peter's statement wasn't a slip-up. It was a declaration of war, not with bullets, but with bottles. Nestlé isn't trying to solve the water crisis. It wants to own the crisis, to privatize what should be free, to wrap life's most basic need in plastic, slap a barcode on it and say, pay up or go thirsty. Because when you control water, you control survival. And when survival comes with a price tag, only the rich get to live. That's the exact world Nestlé is cashing in on. So, the next time you reach for a bottle with a blue label and a pure spring promise, stop and think, whose land was drained to fill that bottle? Whose children are still walking hours every day with empty containers? And who decided they no longer had the right to water? Spoiler, it wasn't a government or a community. It was a corporate boardroom. Now, let's peel back the curtain on this disturbing worldview. Let's talk about California, a state that's been burning, drying, and begging for water for years. It's a place where people are told to turn off their taps, skip showers, and let their gardens die. Wildfires rage, crops wither, and families wonder if there'll even be water tomorrow. And while all of this was happening, Nestlé was helping themselves. They weren't just taking water, they were stealing it from Strawberry Creek, right inside the San Bernardino National Forest, a stunning, protected area that should have been left untouched. But Nestlé was there, day and night, pumping water, bottling it up, and selling it as Arrowhead spring water. And here's the part that makes it truly insane. Their permit expired in 1988. Yes, Nestlé kept extracting water for more than 30 years without a valid permit. Over 60 million gallons every single year, while everyday people were being told to stop washing their clothes. A global corporation quietly siphoning water out of a forest for 3 decades without the legal right to do it, and nobody stopped them. Environmental groups like the Story of Stuff and the Center for Biological Diversity finally stepped in. They took Nestlé to court, demanded accountability, and begged the government to act. And the US Forest Service, after all that, they looked into it and gave a response that was almost laughable. You can continue, but maybe take a little less. That's it. So while Californians were counting drops in their sinks, Nestlé trucks were rolling out, fully loaded with liquid gold, snatched for pennies. It wasn't just unfair. It was cruel. It was shameless. Picture this: a thief walking out of a burning house with the last bucket of water and then selling it back to the people still trapped inside. That's Nestlé. And they didn't just stroll off into the sunset. They smiled, popped the cap, and bottled the profit. Now let's head north to the peaceful forests and icy lakes of Canada. Sounds calm, right? Well, not for long, because Nestlé showed up with the same playbook. Only this time, they didn't just steal water. They took it from indigenous land, land that was never theirs. Land protected by treaties, land promised to the First Nations over 300 years ago. But when you're Nestlé, centuries of history, law, and rights, just a minor inconvenience standing between you and your next billion. The second case is Canada, where there is low fees but high damage on indigenous lands. Nestlé was pumping up to 3.6 million liters of water per day from a well in Erin, Ontario, right next to the Six Nations of the Grand River, one of Canada's largest First Nations communities. This land isn't just random countryside, it's protected by 2 historic treaties, the 1701 Nanfan Treaty and the 1784 Haldimand Tract. The Nanfan Treaty was an agreement between the British Crown and Indigenous nations, promising them the right to use the land freely, hunting, fishing, living forever. Then came the Haldimand Proclamation, which granted the Six Nations a massive stretch of land along the Grand River, 6 miles on each side, as a permanent home, a reward for their loyalty during war. In short, the land Nestlé used wasn't just sacred, it was legally protected. But that didn't matter. They didn't ask for permission. They didn't honor the treaties. They just showed up, fired up the pumps, and started draining water. Day in, day out. And how much did they pay for it before 2016? Just 3.71 Canada list per million liters. After public outrage, the fee jumped all the way to 503.71 per million liters. Still peanuts compared to the fortune they raked in selling that same water in plastic bottles for over $2 per liter. So let's do the math. They pay less than $1 for thousands of liters, then flip it for thousands of dollars. That's not business, that's robbery with paperwork. And just when you think it can't get worse, it does. In 2016, during a drought, locals were told to conserve water, take shorter showers, stop watering their gardens. Meanwhile, Nestlé, still pumping, still bottling millions of liters every single day, while nearby communities, including indigenous ones, struggled to access clean water at all. But this time, the people fought back. Leaders, activists, and everyday citizens rose up. They protested, filed petitions, took the fight all the way to the United Nations. One voice that cut through the noise was Makasa Looking Horse, who said it plain and powerful. They're stealing water, making billions off of it, and selling it back to us while saying that water is a human right. And the pressure? It worked. In 2020, Nestlé sold off its Pure Life business in Canada to a company called Ice River Springs. Not because they suddenly found a conscience, but because they were being pushed out, called out. That's 2 countries down, 2 betrayals dragged into the light. But don't get too comfortable, because next, Nestlé came for us. Our third case is Pakistan. Profits from a thirsty nation. Now this one burns because Pakistan isn't just some faraway name on a map. It's a country where children die from dehydration, where women walk miles just to find clean water, and where over 70% of the population lacks safe drinking water according to UNICEF. And even in the middle of that crisis, Nestlé saw nothing but a business opportunity. Between 2013 and 2017, Nestlé Pakistan quietly extracted over 4.43 billion liters of groundwater, mostly to fill their shiny little plastic bottles of pure life, while the country struggled under the weight of water shortages and brutal climate heat waves. And the price they paid for this liquid lifeline? Just rupees 0.00021 per liter. That's less than a single grain of rice for life itself. And if that wasn't insulting enough, a forensic audit ordered by the Supreme Court of Pakistan uncovered something even worse. 1.9 billion liters were wasted during processing, poured down the drain in a country that's literally running dry. And Nestlé's excuse? Oh, 15% was due to our machines. But the people weren't silent. By 2018, things had gotten so bad that Chief Justice Saqib Misar stepped in. The Supreme Court took suo motu notice, summoned the heads of Nestlé and other bottled water giants, and launched a full investigation. For the first time, these companies were being told they might actually have to pay for what they took. But even that couldn't undo the damage. The audit uncovered more dirt, plastic bottles that failed safety tests, bottled water labeled unsafe to drink. People weren't just being overcharged, they were paying for poison wrapped in plastic. Nestlé scrambled to defend itself. They tried to save face, installing a few filtration plants, throwing around words like sustainability, and showing off their drip irrigation systems. But here's the truth. No PR campaign can clean blood from muddy water, and no bottled apology can erase the suffering of people who had nothing left to drink.